Hey guys, and welcome back. The last video I put up was us getting into this 56 Evinrude 10 horse, and we're going to do the water impeller on it. Took it apart and we found that it does need a seal kit, so that is on order, and that will be 4 or 5 days that should be in. So I'm kind of leaving that as is in the shop. I just bagged up all the parts, and when that comes, we can continue on that. But I have the water jug set up outside, the water bin, hopper, whatever you want to call it, and stand. So I figure while I have that set up, this is also another yard sale find, which is, I think it says an Atlas. Atlas, which probably would have been Sears, sold under Sears. And a couple of guys wrote on the yard sale find video that they believe it's a Gale is the same, and it's probably rebadged as a bunch of different things. And the year on this, I believe, was 48/49, and this was a house clean out. The father, he looked getting pretty close to 90. He was an older guy. The kids were helping settle and clean out the house, and they were doing whatever with bringing them wherever his situation was that he was going. The house was getting sold, so this was hanging up in the garage. I asked him about it. He said, I think he wanted, he may said $30, and I looked at it, and how about 20, and we came together at 25, I think. And I asked him when was the last time it was running all, and he said last year maybe. And so that may or may not be true. I'm generally, every time I hear when something is a year, it's usually 5 to 10. Just seems to be the way it works. Your recall is kind of along that line. Unfortunately, it does have gas in it, so whatever issues that is going to be is what we're going to run into. It smells bad. It's definitely way more than a year. So that's going to be an issue, and more likely the carbs have to be cleaned and all. But let's start our normal process with seeing if we got spark and compression and that kind of thing. So I'm going to set you up on a stand. We'll get into it and see how this project goes. The one saving grace I do see is the fuel pet was shut off. So that may have been a good sign that it was shut off and possibly run out of fuel. Don't know though. Let's see if we can get the plug out of it. I have a drill set up so we can spin the motor without trying to put a rope on it. Trying to make it someplace where you guys can see. How about, that looks like a good spot. Except for the fact that the wire's in your way. How about we do that? I'm going to turn the shifter to start because the spark will be killed if not. Let's see if this will work. Got nice bright sparks. Does that show up on the camera? It does. What do you say we do the old little spray some fuel inside her and see if she goes cough, sputter, sputter. So those really old motors, the premix gets higher as they get older. In other words, you got 50 to 1 on modern stuff, 40 to 1, 24 to 1, and I believe 16 to 1. So this is just a little bit of gas. There's an inch left in there. And they ran just 30 weight motor oil, which is what I am putting in. And we're just going to eyeball it. We're only going to run it for a second, but we're going to use that as the lube, the fuel. And we'll see how that does for us for starting. Which one was on which. We'll go with that. Shoot that in there, see if she'll go. Let's give it a little shot. I don't know if the drill's going to have enough snot to turn it over once the plug's back in. This has a metal impeller. It does not run a rubber one. It's a non-interference. In other words, if you run it out of water, you're not going to burn up the impeller. As far as what I understand. I'm wrong, but that's... As far as what I quickly looked up on it, the drill is going to need to go in low range. Let's see if it'll do it. I don't think the drill's gonna have enough snot. Go for old, what it's supposed to be. So let's go dump that supposed 1-year fuel out of it and see what it looks like. Not much in there, but oh my, is that stinky. It does not smell good. I think we're gonna have to, I think there's a lip. I think there's a lip not allowing it, yeah, all to come out. So I'm gonna try loosening the fuel line and see if we get more out of there. But that smells like it looks, and that's not just because it's got oil in it. Yeah, I would definitely say the vintage of that gas is about 10 years old. Let's see if the head operates. I got one drip. That might be tarred up. Nope. Again, I think it's just going to fight us because of the way it is. I may try taking the tank off, bring it over the parts washer, wash it out with a parts washing solution. That might be our best bet. What do you think? Doesn't look like it held on there by much. One. Nothing there. Looks like 2 screws. I can take the tank off. So hopefully the pull starter doesn't have to come off. I don't think so. Got a spot for 4 screws. One of them was missing. Alright, well, that was easy. Let's see if we can get more. You hear it. Good thing about aluminum tanks, they don't get that corrosion that you get with a steel tank, you know, all the rust. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to go try flushing that out a little bit, and we'll mix us up some fresh stuff. We also, while that's off, we'll pull the float ball off of the carb. So I had this turned in the parts washer. It's got a little bit of fluid still left in it just from the parts washer. See if we can kind of mist that out of it. And just for show and tell, people are asking where the old gas goes. I got it used to say old gas right there. These are all boat gas tanks. And it's an outbuilding. I just collect them in those. And again, once a year. Up to 4 times a year, but usually about once a year I just go and I dump them at our hazardous waste cleanup days. So I took the fuel line off, that hard line that went across that guy. And I blew air through it and it shot mud out of it, so you know the carburetor has definitely crud inside it. Somewhere, my wrench. There it is. So let's go into getting that float bowl off of there. Get that out of our way. I don't know if this is a jet that comes in from the side or just a drain bowl, a drain plug for the bowl. A drain plug. Let's turn that like that. That's your photo in reverse too, because when you start this engine up, it just goes, the prop goes all the time, so for photo in reverse you actually spin the motor right around, and that allows you to back the boat up. Tell you what, I'll turn you back on and see how long this takes. See what sludge we uncover. For you guys that can't see. Wobble. One more. Getting close to the eye on the prize. Hopefully my head is not sitting right in the middle of the shot. Nope, we're there. Alright. It's the Tilton carburetor. So close to get something. Why is it you always leave the hardest one to last? You should take that one out first. Alright. See if she'll drop out. Of course, I don't want to damage anything. This is the carb that we did on the last bike build. It was the same one. I don't see how you knock out. You gotta take the screw out of the side of it to get the pin out. It doesn't look terrible. I think we may work on it right where it is. I'll wash the float bowl out and I'll pull the center jet out. Maybe the other two. We'll see. I'm undecided. See if we can get that main out of there. Didn't lose it. I do not see a port through that, so that must have another, must be another one up inside it. I know, I should probably just take the carburetor right off, right? Nope, access is from the top. There we go. And we should be able to blow through the center of that. It's open. That's a good sign. Bath time. Look at that float out of there. The needle comes. That's the access for the needle. That's what that side cover was for. Doesn't look totally cruddy. Just looks like a bunch of old oil left up. So I think I'm gonna go take this and throw everything in the parts carb cleaner can for a little while. I got an appointment I got to go to, and I'll come back and we'll pick this up from there. We'll let this kind of soak and clean up and give us a good fighting chance of being a nice runner. It's a good sign when the float doesn't sink. Trying to hold it under. No bubbles yet. So we'll let that soak in there again for a while. If we come back and that's on the bottom, that may be an issue, but hopefully not. So it's a couple hours later, and I got the parts out of the parts washer and in the process of reassembling. I just want to kind of show something. On the last video, the last outboard video, we were talking about fuel filters. A bunch of people were writing about fuel filters, and you know, if you got some questionable situation, that you should put one in line. And I wrote back, the problem is with gravity feed machines like this one, where the gas tank is, you know, literally 2 inches above the float bowl, the carburetor, that you barely have any pressure there at all, and if you put any kind of fuel filter on it, it'll actually cause it to starve. And the ones that you can put on there essentially are just a piece of screen that's on the inside of them. So I just wanted to show something real quick, and I don't know how well it's going to show up on this one, but let's get something to point with. Alright, so this is sitting upside down, so I can put the float bowl on it. So you got to picture this flipped the other direction. But right there is where the fuel goes in, where the fuel gets drawn in and, you know, into the engine. And if you'll notice the distance where that hole is and where this base is, there's a well. Look down inside there, you actually see that well, that pin coming into the center of the hole. That meters how much fuel gets drawn up. So that's your high side air fuel mix. Fuel mix actually, but it meters how much fuel you get to draw up by turning that sucker in and out. And then you can kind of see, so that gives you an idea where that hole is and where that hole will sit in comparison to there. So everything below that hole is, there's a well that's down in there. Well, that well can take on some contaminants and is designed to do that. So it will take a little bit of water, a little bit of debris can kind of go down there. Again, at some point it will take itself out, and you can also see the little screw that you can take out of there. I believe that's probably going to be a drain. Yeah, that's a bowl drain. So while you have the machine get together, if you have a problem with water or something in there, you can pull that out of there and drain out your crud that's in there. So I just wanted to show that the carburetor actually has a little bit of capacity to take on some contaminants. So let me get the float back on there. I think it's pretty much ready to put that in. Gotta put the feed that up from the other side, and I think we are all set. You can flip it over, put the gas tank on, and put some fuel in it. As far as fuel, we got 30 weight oil mixed with gasoline. Kind of looks like what gasoline used to look like, huh? So that's what we're running. And it's mixed up pretty well. When I first put it in there, it took a little bit for it to settle. It had that funky kind of looking pattern on the inside of it, but now it looks like it's totally gotten soaked into the gas. So without further ado, let's get this puppy up and running. Let's see if I can get some of this in there without wearing it. Not exactly the best of containers to use. It's nice to have this little spring-loaded job, so when you're putting gas in it on the water, you don't drop the gas cap in there. It's got a vent on top too. You got to crack that loose so the air can come in, allow it to flow out. Or if not, it's like when you take your glass of water with a straw and you hold your thumb over it and you lift it up, it holds it. It's kind of the same idea. Gas won't flow unless it's got a vent in the top. What do you say we give her a shot? I got a screwdriver ready to roll to it, adjust it. I think there's enough water in there. I'm hoping so. Let's crack the gas all the way open. They have a tether. See this thing? That's the choke. So let's go to start. And it's a gas and go too. As I said, there's no neutral. So let's go a little bit, we'll give it a choke and give it a yank and just see what happens. Nothing happens. This rope kind of sucks too. Made smoke. What do you think? No choke? Try it with no choke. And I dropped my screwdriver down in the jug. Well, she runs. The low end needs a little bit of tweaking. You can hear it popping. I want to try to get rid of that. But at the same token, we need more water. There's not enough in there. Try it again. Water coming out of here. Turn the gas back on. That's a margarita mixer. Don't think it's sucking up any water. Yeah, I think it's probably got water. Impeller problems also seems to be a common theme in my garage here now recently, doesn't it? So I gotta do a little bit of homework on this. I don't know if it's worth, again, I paid 25 bucks for it. The carburetor is worth probably more than the outboard itself is, but we'll see. It does have a little knocked off paint up there. But it does run. Seems like it runs fairly decent. If I had something to put it on, I may look and see what's available for it, for a pump and all, and maybe move forward, maybe not. But it does run. Cold start, 1949 Gale, 1.5 horse outboard. I turned it sideways to get a flow going. Maybe it had to get rammed into it like it was moving. But I don't see that still doing anything. Hot tub. Gotta do more homework on it, but I see the holes on the prop. Try to figure out where the water would enter. I would figure that because this is, you know, a start and go, that the prop spins all the time, that it would just pressure feed into the hole as the prop is spinning, that it would actually just kind of ram some water down in there. Possibly not have a pump at all, but I don't know that for a fact. There may be something back inside here. Well guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up right about here. Again, we are dealing with no water flow going through it. I'm not quite familiar with how this system works. I did a quick look online, and as far as what I thought it had was a brass gear in it that draws the fluid up, water up through it. That may or may not be the case. It may have one of those rubber type impellers that burn up just like all the other ones do. And with that, I may or may not chase it to go fix it. It all depends on how expensive it is and, you know, what the value of the engine is afterwards. If the parts are too expensive and it's a real pain to get into, you know, I'll probably just put on Craigslist and see if somebody else would like to take the ball and I could show that it runs and everything operates in it. So with that, I'm gonna go shut her down. I want to thank all you guys for just kind of coming over and hanging out in the garage with me and do a little bit of wrenching. So until the next one, I'll see you then. See ya. No choke. No choke. Yep. Gotta keep her running now. Ha ha.